You may have heard of Julius Caesar as the most famous Roman who ever lived and one of the most influential figures in history. This is because he's responsible for laying the groundwork for the Roman Empire, which would thrive for hundreds of years after his death. He also may be known for his victories throughout Europe and into the Gauls, modern-day France. What many people don't know, however, is that at 25, Julius Caesar was captured by pirates. In this video, I would like to recount the story of the young Caesar. The Mediterranean Sea, being a body of water where 3 continents meet, was rough for sailing. Because of its location, however, these waters were crucial for the advancement of the booming societies of the 1st century BC. Because it was the most important route for trade in that region, the Mediterranean was filled with naves mercatoriae, ships carrying cargo. Naturally, this densely crowded sea of ships transporting expensive merchandise also attracted pirates. For generations, these pirates were an ongoing threat to the Mediterranean. They interfered with trade, took prisoners to be sold as slaves, and held prominent citizens for ransom. The capture of Romans was a rather common occurrence as they made for profitable captives. In the year 75 BC, the 25-year-old Roman nobleman by the name Julius Caesar was seized by a band of pirates in the Aegean Sea, a branch of the Mediterranean. In this particular voyage, which took place in the winter, the young Julius Caesar had been traveling to Rhodes to study oratory. For a grandee such as himself, this capture was little more than an impediment to his busy schedule. For the pirates, on the other hand, it was the beginning of the end. Caesar mortuo sulla ad composita seditione civili, Rodum sacedere statuit, tut per otium Apollonio, tunc clarissimo dicendi magistro operam dare. This passage is referring to when, after the death of Sulla, the Roman dictator who had reigned from 82 to 79 BC, and the civil strifes had finally subsided, Caesar sought to travel to Rhodes, where he would study the works of Apollonius, a well-known teacher. Viginti talenta pirata e postulavorant, ille vero quinquaginta daturum se spocondit. From the beginning of his capture, Caesar refused to behave like a captive. The pirates initially set his ransom at 20 talents, but he laughed at them for not knowing who it was they had captured. The mere 20 talents was an insult for someone of his standing. He therefore demanded his ransom be raised to 50 talents. For the pirates, who were accustomed to terrified prisoners, they must have marveled greatly at the capture of this Roman. After sending servants to gather his ransom money, Caesar settled in for his period of captivity. Sed in itinere a piratis captus, mansitque apudeo quadraginta dies. Caesar remained with the pirates for 40 days, and during this time he bossed them around, treating them like his subordinates. When he wanted to sleep, he shushed them so they would not interrupt his sleep. He forced them to listen to his poetry and oratory works, and when they were not impressed with his compositions, he mocked them as illiterates. He participated in their games, but always made sure they knew he was in charge. He now and then threatened to have them crucified after his ransom was paid. They thought he was joking and thought of him as a somewhat crazy captive. During this time, despite these threats, the pirates actually grew to like their audacious captive. Quibus numeratis expositus est in litore. After the ransom had been paid and Caesar was brought to shore, things did not end there for this band of pirates. Caesar, who had threatened the pirates with crucifixion, was not joking. Immediately after his release, Caesar sent out a fleet of Roman navy ships which went straight to the pirates' location. During a night attack in which some ships were sunk, the pirates were captured. Piratasque ad deditionem redactos eo affecit supplicio quod illis saepe per iocum minatus fuerat, tum abiis te tineretur, trucibus illos suffigiusit. This passage describes how Caesar inflicted the promised punishment upon the pirates, with which he had often threatened them while in their custody. He followed up with these threats by personally ordering them to suffer crucifixion. As a merciful act, however, Caesar had their throats cut prior to the crucifixion. Alright everyone, that is it for this video. If you enjoyed this content, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. In proximum. Until next time.